Yes, Mr. Shasalson.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Sibanyoni, paragraph 104, you're talking again about the attempted murder case. So I'd like to leave that for now. But from paragraph 105 on page 40, you talk about a meeting with General Mkhwanazi, and maybe if you can read from paragraph 105. Page 41, paragraph 105.
Yes, paragraph 40, number 105. The meeting that I now address is, in my respectful submission, one of the most significant matters before this commission in or around April 24, following the passing of Mr. Chota Msibi. I met with Lieutenant General Ntanta Mkhwanazi. The meeting was not sought by me. It was initiated by General Mkhwanazi himself through Sergeant Van Nkosi, who contacted me on General Mkhwanazi's behalf and made the specific arrangements for the engagement. The meeting took place during a period of significant instability following Mr. Msibi's death, a period in which the taxi industry faced renewed violence and a dangerous vacuum of leadership. General Mkhwanazi, acting in his official capacity as a senior officer of the South African Police Service, understood the significance of the post-Msibi environment and sought to engage with the senior industry leader who had knowledge of the dynamics that were producing that instability. The specific subject matter of the meeting was the status of approximately 5 to 6 taxi violence cases in which criminal investigations had been concluded, but in respect of which prosecution had either been declined or well stalled at the level of National Prosecuting Authority. These were not hypothetical concerns. They were specific documented matters that I had been pursuing without success for an extended period. Number 107. Among the matters I discussed with General Mkhwanazi was the deployment and threat posed by what the industry refers to in its criminal connotation as izinkabi, contract killers, who had been active within the taxi industry during the period from 2023 backwards. The Commission must understand with precision the character of that discussion. I was not a person who deployed izinkabi. I was a person who had been targeted by them twice. The discussion I had with General Mkhwanazi about izinkabi was the discussion of a victim who have survived being targeted by the contract killers, who was reporting the ongoing and dangerous deployment of those killers, and who was pressing a senior law enforcement official to do something about it. That is not the discussion of a person employing assassins. It is a discussion of a person who had barely escaped with his life, who had watched colleagues being killed, and who was demanding the accountability from the very authority constitutionally responsible for providing it. One cannot adequately convey the significance of the quality of engagement that General Mkhwanazi brought to that meeting. He listened attentively and completely. He asked questions. He took extensive and careful notes of every concern I raised. He treated every matter I brought to him as deserving of serious professional attention. To a man who had spent years reporting trials to officials at various levels, including Minister of Police, who had responded with the moral equivalent of a shrug, General Mkhwanazi's engagement was qualitatively and materially different. It was the first occasion. I record with candor on which a senior law enforcement official responded to my concern with diligence and commitment they deserve. The results, moreover, were tangible. Following General Mkhwanazi's engagement, there was a visible movement in the prosecution of the specific cases raised. There was a measurable reduction in the intensity of taxi killing in the period that followed. I do not claim and will not be entitled to claim that General Mkhwanazi alone achieved those outcomes. I record them as observably results that followed directly from the engagement. This was not the relationship between a criminal and a compromised official. This was the relationship between a persistent victim who has spent years seeking justice and law enforcement official who finally provided it. Number 110. It was I who raised this concern. It was I who used my access to the ministers to press for accountability. General Mkhwanazi came to take extensive notes and to ensure that every issue I raised was fully and properly addressed. In fact, after General Mkhwanazi's engagements, there seems to be a visible movement on both prosecution of cases and the ease of in-taxi violence. I add emphatically that I was the one demanding justice, not obstructing it. This context is not a minor footnote. It fundamentally reframes the relationship between myself and senior SAPS official as one in which I obvious the survivor of assassination attempts, the long-standing taxi industry leader, the citizen who contacted both ministers, was pressing the system to prosecute those responsible for taxi violence, not corrupting the system, not protecting criminals, pressing for prosecution. B5.
Mr. Sibanyoni, before you go to B5, following the passing of Mr. Msibi, did you succeed him in the leadership role? Remember where you had a falling out was because there was discussion about him retiring and you taking over.
Correct.
Following his passing in 2024, did you succeed him as the leader?
Yes, of course. And I will explain as to why did I succeed. Can I explain it now, like as you're asking?
Yes. Unless it's coming later on, you might as well do
No, let me explain it now. After the passing of Mr. Jotam Msibi, I was contacted by the elders of the industry at my house. Then as to, now they're frustrated as to who must take over, and they understand my relationship and what transpired because for the past 4 years I was not operating. Then I said, okay, what's the problem then? Because I was not operating. All I was fighting for was my taxis to go back to operation. Even now, this is what I'm requesting from you. Then they said, no, we can't go that way. You were the only person who was available. Then I advised them that it cannot just be a matter of you telling me in my house, then I assume the position. Can we go to conference? Then they agreed of a conference. And I gave them the date of the conference, which was the first week after Good Friday, because I wanted them to have enough time, and at the same time, we allow Good Friday to pass, so that as we go pray, we must put this matter online. So first week after Good Friday, it was my first AGM with the association, and me voted in as the president of the organization.
Just for the record, what is that organization?
South African Local and Long Distance Taxis and Bus Organization.
Thank you. And you remain to this day?
Correct.
The leader of that organization?
Yes, and every year I go for a conference.
So there are elections every year?
No, AGM.
AGM?
Yes, yeah. Just to renew the mandate as well and to map a way forward in a more democratic formation.
Thank you.
B5.
Sorry, Mr. Sibanyoni, I don't want you to address B5 because, again, it's about the criminal trial.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
But maybe if you can, in C from page 43, you respond to specific questions about your relationship with 6 individuals. The first one at C1 is Mr. Msibi. We've covered most of that.
Yes.
The only point that I would emphasize that I'm not sure that we have covered yet is paragraph 120, where you talk about two visits you made to the farm. In fact, you say you only went to the farm twice. Can I ask you, in relation to that, whether when you went to the farm there was any sign of Mr. Molefe or Mr. Matlala or any drug business being dealt with from the farm.
Okay. Specifically on the first visit at the farm, it was to see where the farm is and where does he stay, which is a normal practice. Someone that you work with, you normally want to know where he stays, something like that, so that when you communicate or when you visit, you must know that. That was late December, early December, so to put it. Then after December, the taxi industry is so busy. I was busy doing my formal duties here in town, making sure that December is a busy time, everything must just go well. Then the second visit was the following year, whereby the planning was, how do we map the way forward now, because the year has begun, and in line with that, what are his requirements as to what is it that he wants to see happening. Me being the assistant to him, I must just make sure that even when I advise, it is in line with our duty.
And there was no contact with either Mr. Matlala or
No.
Mr. Molefe on either. So everything that you say about Mr. Matlala and Mr. Molefe is from what was reported to you by others.
Correct, yeah.
Is there anything else that you would want to add in relation to your relationship with Mr. Msibi?
No, so far, I think I've covered all aspects.
Then on page 45, C2, 123, you address Mr. Motsumi. If you can read that paragraph.
C2, Mr. Mutsumi, paragraph 2.2.2. I know Mr. Stephen Mutsumi. I met him through the late Mr. Msibi in or around 2012 or 2013 at Msibi's premises in Wood Hill. Our acquaintance is a social one arising from our shared connection to Mr. Msibi. There is no business relationship between us and no financial dealings of any kind between us. C3, Mr. Katiso Molefe, paragraph 2.2.3. I know Mr. Katiso Molefe. I've already met him as far back as 2016 and 17 in Woodhill Golf Estate at Msibi's Woodhill home. I came to know him through the late Mr. Msibi. I've met him a few times and have also met him at what I understand to be Mr. Msibi's farm. Our acquaintance is social and arose entirely through the late Mr. Msibi. There is no business relationship between us and no financial dealings of any kind between us.
Sorry, I thought when you were asked about the two occasions that you visited the farm, you said you did not encounter either Mr. Matlala or Mr. Molefe
Yes.
in the farm. So when you say here,
This is Woodhill.
oh, this is Woodhill, the
Yes.
farm. Okay.
No, it's Woodhill, Pretoria here, Pretoria East.
No, it says here, I have met him a few times and have also met him at what I understand to be Mr. Msibi's farm. That's the part I don't understand.
I've met him a few times and I've also met him in what I understand to be, it's an error, maybe per.
Yes, so that's what confused me. What did you mean to say there?
Come again?
What did you mean to say there? Did you mean to limit it to Woodhill?
I met him in Woodhill.
Yes.
Yeah. Our acquaintance is social and arose entirely through the late Mr. Msibi. There is no business relationship between us and no financial dealings of any kind between us. C4, Mr. Ignatius Pero Mtakati, paragraph 2.2.4. I know Mr. Ignatius Pero Mtakati. My history with Mr. Mtakati is longer and more textured than a connection arising through the late Mr. Msibi. I first met Mr. Mtakati in approximately 1990 or 91 when we trained together at the Health and Racket Club in Horton. I add that at the time I met with him, he was a police officer at the time within the Sandton precinct. We were friends who socialized together in that period through our shared gym membership. A friendship formed and solidified well before I later encountered him through Mr. Msibi. I relocated from Johannesburg to Pretoria in approximately 2002 or 3 after which I lost touch with Mr. Mtagati for several years. He resurfaced in my life in or around 2015 or 16 when I encountered him at Msibi's home in Wood Hill, reintroduced by Mr. Andrew Mtetwa. Since then, our relationship has been that of a long-standing friend and colloquially a brother, equally a brother. There are no business dealings between us. I know that I may at some point in the past have participated with Mr. Mtagati in a stokvel, a lawful and a cultural normal savings arrangement in this country. That stokvel participation was terminated many years ago and carries no significance beyond what stokvel participation has always meant in South African community life.
When you met him again at Mr. Msibi's home, was he still a police officer?
No, not at all.
Thank you.
I know Mr. C5, Mr. Andrew Boycha Mtagati, paragraph 2.2.5. I know Mr. Andrew Boy Mtetwa Jabu. I met him through the late Mr. Msibi at his home in Wood Hill in approximately 1996-1997. I regard Mr. Mtetwa as a long-standing personal friend and colloquially a brother. Our relationship is entirely personal and social. There are no business dealings between us. 6C, Mr. Sech Kabonge, paragraph 2.2.6. I know Mr. Sech Kabonge, though not closely. My acquaintance with him arose through shared social gatherings and events in the entertainment scene in which our paths crossed over the years. He is a social acquaintance, definitely not a close friend and not a business associate. There are no business or financial dealings between us. D, business with the City of Tshwane and the TMPD, notice paragraph 2.3 and 2.4. I state this with absolute clarity. I have not done and do not do any business with the City of Tshwane or the Tshwane Metropolitan Police Department. None of the entities in which I hold or have held any interest, whether as a director, shareholder, member, or beneficiary, has had any contract, service level agreement, purchase order, or other commercial arrangements with the City of Tshwane or TMPD, whether directly or as a subcontractor. The sub-paragraphs of paragraph 2.3 of the notice requiring details of entity names, agreement duration, service natures, and amounts received are not applicable. They do not apply because there are no such agreements and no such dealings. Number 132. I'm aware that Gubis 85 Solutions Pty Ltd, a private company which provides security services to me personally, may have provided services and in turn received substantial payments from the TMPD. I address my relationship with Gubis fully in part E, and I state here simply and clearly the fact that Gubis received payments from the TMPD does not mean that I receive payments from the TMPD or that I have any business relationship with TMPD. I am a client of Gubis. I'm not a dictator shareholder or beneficial owner of Gubis. I'm not responsible for Gubis' own procurement dealings.
Please, Ms. Sibanyoni, read the previous sentence. I'm not a director. So the second last sentence. So it says I'm not a director, shareholder.
Okay, I'm not a director, shareholder, or beneficial owner of Gubis. I'm not responsible for Gubis' own procurement dealings. In response to paragraph 2.4 of the notice, no entity in which I hold or have held any interest have received any payment from a third-party company in connection with that third party's contract with the City of Tshwane or TMPD. If that has in fact happened, I have no such information and I'm not aware. No such payments have been made to any company of mine, directly or indirectly. I deny categorically that any entity of mine has been used as a conduit for funds derived from the City of Tshwane or TMPD contracts. I will attach as Annexure C the certified CIPC disclosure certificates and company registration documents for all entities in which I hold or have held a directorship, shareholding, or the member's interest. This is being prepared by my attorney and will be attached to the final version of this statement. E, the relationship with Kubi Solutions Ltd, Pty Ltd, notice paragraph 2.5, number 135. I have a business relationship with Kubi Solutions Pty Ltd as their client. I employ Gubis to provide me with personal security services. This arrangement was entered into after the assassination attempt on my life in August 2022. Having survived that attempt, in which I was shot twice with the weapon subsequently linked to 18 other serious crimes, including the murder of TJ somebody, I took reasonably prudent and entirely lawful steps to secure professional protection for myself and my household. A formal contract governs this arrangement. Gubis invoices me monthly and I pay those invoices. This is a legitimate, commercially unremarkable and entirely lawful client service provider relationship. I have a personal relationship with Mr. Calvin Madlanga, the founder of Gubis 85 Solution. He is also my homeboy, a person from the same community in which I grew up. He is younger than me. Our personal relationship predates the security services arrangement and is rooted in genuine community bonds. I have not received any payment directly or indirectly from Gubis 85 Solutions. The financial flow between us is entirely one-directional. I pay Gubis. Gubis does not pay me. I've never received money from Gubis, not as a remuneration, distribution, loan, commission, or in any other form. I am not a director, shareholder, or beneficial owner of Gubis 85 Solutions. I do not participate in the management, direction, or procurement activities of Gubis. I did not direct Gubis to participate in any TMPD tender process. I did not procure or facilitate the award of any TMPD contracts to Gubis through improper means. The conduct of Sergeant Kosi is alleged acting as an intermediary in connection with the Gubis arrangement with the TMPD was not directed by me, was not done at my instructions, and was not a matter in which I participated. I deny absolutely that I used Sergeant Kosi as an agent or intermediary for any purpose in connection with any organ of state. F, my relationship with Sergeant Kosi, notice paragraph 2.6, number 139. I'm aware that Sergeant Kosi testified before this commission over several days in March 2026. I'm also aware and recorded respectfully but clearly that the Honorable Chairperson of this commission, the retired Judge Justice Madlanga, made explicit adverse credibility findings against Sergeant Kosi, finding that he was not being truthful in his evidence. I'm further aware that Sergeant Kosi was, following those adverse credibility findings, arrested. I engaged with the Commission on the accurate record of my relationship with Sergeant Kosi based on my personal knowledge, not on the discredited version he advanced. F1, the nature of relationship and when it started. Paragraph 2.
I don't remember what I said, but was it already findings at that stage, or was I engaging him?
I think it was findings. I was listening attentively.
Please continue.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner. Nature of relationship and when it started, paragraph 2.6.1 and 2.6.2. I first encountered Sergeant Nkosi at the Woodhill location where the late Mr. Msi was staying. Our acquaintance thus aroused through my long-standing relationship with Mr. Msibi. Following Mr. Msibi's passing in 2024, and after a significant gap of approximately 4 years since our initial encounter at Woodhill, I reconnected with Mr. Nkosi. The contents of the reconnection was entirely one of personal safety and the industry peace. Specifically, I needed to arrange peace meetings in KwaZulu-Natal in circumstances where my life was at genuine risk. Those KZN peace meetings were precisely the kind of fragile, high-stakes mediation, and I have been involved in through my career. Meetings that required me to attend in circumstances of exposing me to further personal risk, Sergeant Nkosi's proximity to the police, and in particular to Commissioner Mkwanazi, was relevant to my ability to arrange necessary safety assurance for those fragile KZN peace meetings. The engagement with Nkosi was about brokering safety for a process essential for a peace, not about procurement, not about criminal advantage, and not about obtaining confidential police information. Number 141. The police did ultimately assist in providing the safety framework that made those KZN peace meetings possible. And Sergeant Nkosi was part of facilitating that support. This was a legitimate use of social connection with the police officer in order to advance a peace and a safety objective. It was appropriate and lawful.
Sorry, can I just clarify my understanding here? Are you saying here that you met Sergeant Nkosi at Woodhill and that you then didn't really have much contact with him until after Mr. Msibi's passing?
Correct.
Thank you. If you can continue with paragraph 142, yeah.
Okay, F2, frequency of meetings, paragraph 2.6.3. My meetings with Sergeant Nkosi were irregular. There was no fixed schedule for our contact. Sergeant Nkosi visited my home on a number of occasions in a social context. The commission has been told by Sergeant Nkosi that he visited my home on approximately 12 occasions. I do not dispute that he visited me at my home on multiple occasions. I confirm it, although I did not keep any physical account for his actual visits. Those visits were social in nature, not operational. A police officer visiting a social acquaintance home is not of itself evidence of anything improper, particularly when, as in my case, the acquaintance is a twice shot state witness under active security threat. F3, procurement discussion, paragraph 2.6.4. I categorically deny that I ever discussed any procurement matters relating to the city of Tshwane and or the TMPD with Sergeant Nkosi. No such conversation took place. F4, Sergeant Nkosi was not my agent or proxy, paragraph 2.6.5. I did not at any time use Sergeant Nkosi as my proxy, agent or representative to carry out any instructions or directions of mine in relation to any official matter. I deny this categorically. Sergeant Nkosi was not in any capacity acting on my behalf in any official context. Confidential, or F5, confidential or official subs information, paragraph 2.6.6. I did not request, solicit, or procure any confidential or official subs information from Sergeant Nkosi or from any other member of subs. I state the following clearly. 145.1. Any message that Sergeant Nkosi may have sent me referring subs activities on matters of potential sensitive nature was sent by Nkosi as a unilateral act, not at my request. I was not in a position to identify, verify whether any information in any message I received from Nkosi was classified, official or operational sensitive. 145.2. Regarding the Laduma message, Laduma is a universally known South African exclamation used to celebrate a goal in football. I categorically deny that I had any arrangement with Nkosi involving pre-coded signals relating to police operations. Any informal celebrity message from a social acquaintance is not a conspiracy. 145.3. Regarding the message allegedly sent at approximately 02.00, referencing Special Task Force movement, to the extent that such a message was sent to me by Mr. Nkosi, I received it in the context of informal social communication from a social acquaintance. I did not act upon it. I did not use any information in it to evade or frustrate, warn any associate about, but interfere with any police operation or investigation. I've never paid Sergeant Nkosi or any person any consideration, whether money, benefit, or favor for police intelligence or confidential subs information. 145.5. I'd raised on numerous occasions the concern about the lack of any arrest on the attempt on my life. I've raised this with Sergeant Nkosi, as I will do with any person I know More so, the fact that Mr. Nkosi was a member of the police did not entail any request for any special attention on the matter. Be that as it may, Nkosi knew my frustration with the delays or failure by the law to bring the perpetrators who had made an attempt on my life. This is why I must be clear that I did not respond to Mr. Nkosi after he said message was sent. I did not solicit the message as so receiving it did not entail. 145.6, I pause to highlight that having been a victim of such a violent crime, I saw wrong nothing with asking and engaging everyone, hence they reach out to the various ministers, MECs, and even Sergeant Nkosi. 146, the mere social contact between civilian and a police officer, including visits, conversation, and informal messages, does not constitute corruption of the solicitation or confidential information. What matters is the substance. The substance of my relationship with Sergeant Nkosi was social and, at relevant times, directed at legitimate safety and peacekeeping purposes, not official, not improper, not directed at obtaining confidential information or official favor. G, my relationship with other SAPS members, notice paragraph 2.7, 147. As a businessman who has lived and worked in Tswane for many years, and who have played an active peacekeeping role in the taxi industry conflict resolution over decades, it is not remarkable that I should have come to know certain SAPS officials. I have at no stage used my relationship with any SAPS officials for any improper purpose. G1, General Shadrach Sibia, paragraph 2.7.1. I have no relationship whatsoever with the suspended Deputy National Police Commissioner, General Shadrach Sibia. I've never met him, communicated with him, or had any dealings with him of any kind. G2, paragraph 2.7.1, 149. I met General Khan on one occasion only in a professional context. He came to inquire about my matters relating to the taxi violence in the course of his official functions. After I have reported and raised concern with unresolved killings, that was a single professional encounter. I have no further dealings with General Khan. G3, General Mkhona's paragraph 2.7.1. The meeting and its initiation. I met Lieutenant General Mkhonazi on a single occasion in or around April 2024, which was the second time I met him. The meeting was initiated by General Mkhonazi himself through Sergeant Nkosi, who contacted me on General Mkhonazi's behalf to arrange the engagement. I did not seek out General Mkhonazi. The General reached out to me. 151, the context and the purpose. The meeting took place in the period following the death of the late Mr. Jotam Sibin in 2024, a period of significant instability and renewed violence within the taxi industry. General Mkhonazi, acting in his official capacity, was attending to the containment of taxi violence and relevant law enforcement matters arising from the power vacuum left by Mr. Msibi passing. The specific subject matter of the meeting was the status of approximately 5 to 6 taxi violence cases in respect of which criminal investigations have been conducted, but in respect of which visible progress at the level of National Prosecution Authority had been frustratingly absent. 152, the conduct of the meeting. What distinguished this meeting from every prior engagement I had with law enforcement officials was the quality of the General Mkhonazi engagement. He listened, he asked questions, he took extensive and careful notes. He treated every concern I raised as a matter deserving serious professional attention. I record this with sincerity. It was the first occasion in years of fruitless engagement with various law enforcement structures on which a senior official responded to my concern with the diligence and the commitment they deserve. 153, the outcome. Following General Mkhonazi's engagement, there was visible movement on the prosecution of specific cases I had raised, movement that had been absent for years prior. There was also a measurable reduction in the intensity of taxi killings in the period following the meeting. I do not claim that General Mkhonazi alone achieved these outcomes. I record them as observably results that followed from the engagement. 154, the direction of the relationship. The Commission must understand the direction of this relationship with precision. I was not a figure of influence seeking to deploy a senior police official for improper purposes. I was a twice shot, long-suffering victim and industry leader who had spent years trying without success to obtain law enforcement attention for violence that had claimed lives within my professional community and that had twice claimed attempts on my life. 155, the irony of Commission's position. It is a matter of deep personal significance that the very General Mkonazi, whose public allegations on July 6, 2025 led directly to the establishment of this commission, was a person who, only 1 year prior, had personally reached out to me to seek my assistance in addressing taxi violence. I answered that call. I provided information, I cooperated, and it is a consequence of that general subsequent public allegations that I now sit under subpoena before this commission. I record this irony not with rancor, but with the hope that this commission will assess the full picture with care and impartiality it deserves. 156, no payment or improper exchange. I confirm, as I do in part G5 of this statement, that I have no time made any payment to General Mkonazi or provided any improper benefit or inducement of any nature in connection with any official matter. No improper exchange of any kind occurred between us. Our single meeting was a professional, law enforcement-oriented engagement properly initiated by General Mkonazi in the exercise of his official functions and responded to by me in the exercise of my civic duty.
Before we get to G4, if I take you back to the notice, which is at page 4 of the annexure bundle, you'll see that the question under 2.71 also asked for the nature and details of your relationships with any official of the SAPS at the rank of brigadier or general, not just Generals Khan, Mkonazi, and Sabia. Are there any other SAPS brigadiers or generals with whom you have had a relationship and about which you can tell us?
No, not that I can remember.
So the only generals that you've encountered at SAPS are Khan, Mkonazi, and Sabia?
No.
Sorry, not Sabia. You've never met Sabia. You've met Khan on one occasion.
Yes, yeah. Not Khan once.
And Lieutenant General Mkonazi
Twice.
on a couple of occasions.
No, it's twice, before and after.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. And then if you can move on to the question about police escorts.
G4, police escorts, paragraph 2.7.2. Police escorts have previously been provided to me on occasions when I attended meetings to resolve the taxi conflict and industry disputes in my well-established role as a mediator, a role I have discharged for many years, involving contending factions in an industry where violence has at times been tragically common. Police escorts in that context protect the mediator and signal official endorsement of conflict resolution efforts. Police escorts were also provided in the context of the credible and ongoing threat to my life following the August 2022 assassination attempt. A person who has been shot twice, whose assassin's weapons were linked to 18 other serious crimes, is encouraged to accept lawful police protection on the face of ongoing violence targeted at his life. I pause to add that this was not a benefit unique to me. It was a government decision to provide security to taxi industry bosses and leadership due to the killings that were emitted on them without fear. 158. I deny that the provision of police escorts to me reflects any improper relationship with any member of SAPS. The provision of police protection to a person under a credible and demonstrated threat of assassination is a legitimate function of the SAPS and is entirely consistent with the SAPS duty to protect life and limb. It is evidence of a threat that the authorities themselves recognize. 159. There has been various reports and articles that show the police actively providing protection to members of the taxi industry after having identified the killings that were taking place within the industry. 160. The then MEC, Ms. Faith Mazibugo, had initially made safety and security arrangements, including the police escort arrangement for taxi bosses, including the late Mr. BJ Mkonza, who was the chairman of Santaco Gauteng. Due to the fragility and unsafe environment within which he operated and the violence in this industry. I must add that the late former Gauteng Santaco chairperson, Mr. Mkonza, who sadly passed on in November 2024, has assisted in arranging police escorts and protection for me when we attended various mediation and peace talks. Knowing exactly what was happening in the industry and the violence therein, Mr. Mkonza extended a hand to assist with protection under the help of the MEC for safety. After his passing, the treasurer of his association, that was Mr. Lefema Timane, who also sadly passed on in or around September or October 2025, kept us assisted through his connections to receive police escorts in periods when violence was looming large. Following his passing, I have since sadly not been assisted by any police escort and have bolstered my own personal security through the employment of Kubus 85.
If I can just come in here, can you explain to us how this police escort system operated? How were you told to arrange police escorts? Who would you contact? What escorts would be provided? What were the requirements for escorts?
Yeah, from where I'm coming from, when the MEC gave the former Gauteng chairperson, Mr. Mkonza, a right to be escorted to serious meetings of taxi violence because they were so rife. What I've learned is he invited all, if they were not generals, I don't know at which level, and gave them a mandate that they must assist the chairperson of Gauteng, Mr. Mkonza, with all escorts that at the time Mr. Mkonza will need in relation to the meetings of taxi violence. Then, therefore, I was not privy to that as to who the police are. Then, me being closer to him as we were doing this, he gave me one of his assistants that I've mentioned, Lifa, to assist me. So for me, it was just to call Lifa, and he knows exactly who to contact. But ever since after the passing of Mr. Lifa, no further communication.
But is it to attend mediation meetings only or taxi industry business only, or is it just police escorts on a daily basis? If you want to go down to the shops, are you entitled to a police escort?
No, only taxi meetings. As a taxi owner, you don't go to shops. Your movements are very limited, very limited.
Do you go to football matches?
Once.
So if you were to go to a football match, would you get a police escort?
No, there's no need. There's no need. It's a one-way drive. You get into the stadium, one-way drive with your security, you are home.
But the security is your own security, not,
yes,
not police.
And for record, I've attended only one match here, ever since. For a record, I've attended only one football game.
Only one in your life?
Yes.
You may not be a true South African.
Is it because your team is doing so poorly, Mr. Sibanyoni?
No, I love Orlando Pirates. It's just the team.
No. Then you most definitely are a true South African, Mr. Sibanyoni.
Yes. Yeah, and Orlando Pirates are the local leaders as we speak. I'm proud of that.
I'm aware of this.
Yes.
But you've literally only been to one
Soccer match.
One football match.
Yes,
Okay, let's pick back. Let's go back to the statement. 163.
Okay. 163. I've never made any payment to any member of SAPS in consideration for any official favor, confidential information, suppression of any investigation or prosecution, procurement advantage, or any other improper purpose, not to Sergeant Nkosi, not to General Khan, not to General Mkonazi, not to General Sibia, not to any SAPS member. H, my relationship with further named individual, notice paragraph 2.8164. I deal with each of the individuals named in paragraph 2.8 in 10. H1, Mr. Calvin Madlanga, paragraph 2.8.1, Mr. Calvin Madlanga is the founder of Kubis 85 Solutions, which provides me with security services as described in Part E. He is also my homeboy and from the same community in which I grew up. My relationship with him combines a legitimate professional client service engagement with a genuine social and community-based friendship that predates the Kubis arrangement. I deny that I hold any beneficial ownership interest in Kubis 85 Solutions through Mr. Madlanga and any other arrangement. H2, Mr. Madlanga, paragraph 2.8.2. Mr. Madlanga is my first cousin. His father and my mother are siblings. Ours is an entirely family relationship. We have no business dealings of any kind. In the event there has been any financial transaction between us, it's purely on a familial arrangement as family and nothing more.
Can I ask what you mean by that? Well, first of all, have there been financial transactions between you?
Come again?
First of all, have there been financial transactions between you?
They are based on the relationship of being the first cousin.
And what do you mean based on the relationship?
And like I will ask assistance, he will ask assistance.
So it's essentially extending financial assistance to relatives?
Yeah, more especially during the time when I was not operating.
Thanks. If you can continue with Mr. Dlamini.
H3, Mr. Umashi Dlamini, paragraph 2.8.3. I have no relationship whatsoever with Mr. Umashi Dlamini. I do not know him personally. I've never met, communicated with, or had any dealings with him of any kind. I have ever associated with his brother, Peter Dlamini, who's also a taxi owner and operator. He has sadly passed on about 2008 or 9. H4, Mr. Mpo Lukukela, paragraph 2.8.4. I have no relationship whatsoever with Mpo Lukukela. I've never met, communicated with, or had any dealings with him. H5, Mr. Karati Mnisi, paragraph 2.8.5. I met Mr. Karati Mnisi in one occasion. There is no ongoing personal or business relationship between us. I have never had any financial dealings with Mr. Mnisi. 170. I've addressed Mr. Minister's testimony regarding the JS identification in Part G above. I specifically deny that any meetings arranged at my home for 16 December 2021 was for any improper purpose. I reserve the right to deal more fully with Mr. Mnisi's evidence in a supplementary statement that I have studied the full transcript of his commission testimony, which my attorneys have requested and I understand are yet to receive. I add that Nkosi simply indicated that he wanted me to meet Mr. Mnisi. I know Nkosi to have always been a mover and a shaker, and so when he suggested an introduction, I did not object. This meeting was a once-off, and nothing came of such a meeting.
Yeah, and can I clarify, is this the meeting that took place on 16 December 2025?
Correct, yeah.
So that's the only occasion that you've met Mr. Mnisi?
Sure.
And it was at your house?
Yes, yeah.
Thank you.
H6, Mr. Chukudu Malachi, paragraph 2.8.6. I have no relationship whatsoever with Mr. Chukudu Malachi. I have never met, communicated with, or had dealings with. Mr. Sipo, H7, Mr. Sipo Nkomo and Mr. Lebogang Piri, paragraph 2.8.7. I have no relationship whatsoever with either Mr. Sipo Nkomo or Mr. Lebogang Piri. I have never met, communicated with, or had dealings with either of them.
Mr. Shaskalson, before we, paragraph 170, where Mrs. Sibanyoni says they have requested a full transcript of Mr. Mnisi's testimony, and to date it has not been provided. As far as I'm aware, transcripts are available on the Commission's website.
Yes, I think that that's certainly been communicated to Mr. Sibanyoni's legal team.
Yes. So I think that must just be clarified, and we leave it at that.
Perhaps, Commissioner, I think it included more than just the transcripts.
Oh, if that's the issue, then
yeah,
that's
it included more than it included the statements,
No, then-
affidavits that Mr. Nkosi, Sergeant Nkosi had made to the Commission, and other documents relevant to Mr. Senior.
Then it's between the attorneys.
Yeah, it's between
and
us.
the-
Yeah, thank you.
H8, Mr. Austin Senkimukubung, DJ Vetis, paragraph 2.8.8. I have encountered and known Mr. Mukubung, also effectively and or commonly known in the entertainment space as DJ Vetis. I have met him on various occasions at social events in the entertainment and social schemes in which our respective paths have crossed over the years. These are social encounters. There is no personal friendship or ongoing business relationship between us. I have had no financial dealings of any significance with DJ Vetis. I am aware, through the public record of the Matala proceedings, that Mr. Mukubung is himself a co-victim in the criminal proceedings against Mr. Vusmuziket Matala. That the same alleged criminal network that shot me also alleged target Mr. Mukubung. His status as a co-victim of the same criminal network as the one that shot me confirms, in the very least, that the violence of that network was not directed at me as an associate or member. It was directed at us as targets.
Sorry, Mr. Sibanyoni, can I understand what you're saying in that last sentence, the point that you're trying to make?
Where should I start? His status. Let me start.
Yes, his status.
His status as a co-victim of the same criminal network as the one that shot me confirms, in the very least, that the violence of that network was not directed at me as an associate or a member. It was directed at us as target. Let me also add H9 so that it adds up to your question as well. 174, I knew DJ Somebody's father, Mr. Sifuka, who was a member of our association, Pretoria, Mabopane, Petersburg, PMP taxation, and an operator with us. I know him from as far back as almost 30 years ago, where Mr. Sifuka passed on as an operator. His son, Opa Sifuka, was introduced to the industry. Despite having been introduced, Opa did not carry the baton of the work his father was doing, and instead the work within the industry was taken over and instead carried on by his mother, Mrs. Sifuka. What I'm trying to explain further here is Mr. DJ Vetis there was an attempt of in his life, and I knew him from social events, and he was close to me based on that, very close. Same as Mr. Sifuka, DJ Somebody, same space, same everything. Therefore, the attempted life of DJ Vetis and Mr. Sifuka being unalived, it was a matter of people that are close to me, irrespective whether they were in the taxi industry or were socializing together. And it did not end here, it's just that I put these two on records so that the commission can understand.
Are you conveying that they were attacked because of their proximity to you?
Correct.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes, yeah. Number 175.
Sorry, can I clarify that? So your belief is that DJ Vetis and DJ Somebody were targeted because of their relationship with you?
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
175. I therefore clarify that indeed I knew the late DJ Somebody. I liked him as a young man who was good at his craft and music in general. He was a celebrated South African music and entertainer who passed away in and around November 2022. I came to know him even deeper through the entertainment and social scene. We moved in broadly similar social circles and met at various events and functions in that environment. I knew him as a highly successful entertainer. Our relationship was one of social familiarity. We had no business dealings of any material kind, as set out in Part B. And as I have come to now understand, the weapons used in the assassination attempt on my life in August 22 were subsequently linked by ballistic evidence to the murder of the late DJ Somebody in November 2022. As I understand, we were linked not by any criminal association, but by the weapons of the same criminal network. 176. I need to poster the above by stating that I met and associated with a lot of people. I truly cannot be expected to know each and every person that I may have met, associated with, or having met with. I will be greatly assisted by the Commission to provide me with the evidence, as I believe the information will serve to assist me in remembering whatever it is I may have missed with various personalities. 1, the Toyota Baki notice paragraph 2.9, 177. The vehicle bearing registration number MG31JWGP is a Baki, specifically 2025 Toyota Hilux double cab. It is not an SUV. I respectfully draw this factual correction to the Commission's attention. 178. The Baki was gifted to me by Kubis 85 Solution Pty Ltd on the occasion of my 59th birthday. It was a birthday present, a gesture from my security service provider to mark a significant personal milestone made in the context of both the professional relationship and the genuine personal friendship between myself and Mr. Calvin Mashangu, my homeboy. Kubis 85 Solution purchased and financed the Baki, paying the installments on the vehicle over time. The legal transfer of ownership into my name was affected only after all installments had been paid in full by Kubis. This is commercial relation arrangement accurately reflecting when the encumbrance of the vehicle was discharged. 179. I confirm that the acquisition of this vehicle was entirely lawful. I deny that it represents an improper arrangement, financial benefit derived from public funds, or gratification under the Prevention and Combating of Corrupt Activities Act. It was a personal birthday gift from a service provider with whom I have long-standing and a genuine relationship. 180. I will attach as Annexure B all available documentation relating to the donation of the Baki to myself by Kubis 85.
Can I take you to Annexure B? It's in the Annexure bundle. It starts at page 10.
Page 10.
Page 10. There's a separate file of annexures.
Yes.
And
10.
I see the first document is a letter from Gubis addressed to Dear Chairperson.
Where are we? I'm sorry. Page 10, 15.10.
Page 10
Yes.
of the annexure bundle.
Where is that?
Please assist.
Over there.
So this one is a statement.
Yes, sir.
And that's a letter dated 1 March 2025 from Gubis, and it's addressed to Dear Chairperson. Do you know which organization the chairperson?
It's my foundation.
Your foundation.
Yes, sir.
So it's a letter to the chairperson of your foundation recording a gift of a Baki to you.
Okay.
And is the Baki a gift to the foundation or to you? Because the letter seems to be a little bit ambiguous in that regard. The second paragraph describes it as a birthday gift to Mr. Joe Sibanyoni, and the last paragraph suggests that the chairperson is requested to accept the gift, and presumably that would be on behalf of the foundation.
Yes.
Did you understand it as a gift to you?
Yes, I understand that way.
And if it was a gift to you, why would the letter be addressed to the foundation?
I just don't get it, because in my understanding, the foundation doesn't need a Baki at all. The foundation needs some buses as far as the way it operates. So as to up to this far, in line with the buggy, I take it that the buggy, for the mere fact that I'm using Kubi's security, in some of the compartments of that buggy is the safety for rifles. Therefore, solely for me and for my protection and the safety keeping of those rifles, not anything else.
I see. In fairness, this is a question we should ask Gubis, not you, because they're the ones who wrote the letter.
Correct.
But if we go to the next page.
Same here.
Same
page.
Same next page, page 11 of the same bundle.
Okay.
This is also given to us as Annexure B. And this is a letter from an organization called PMP Transport Services. And it's addressed to Gubis. It's not clear to me how it relates to the donation of the Baki. Can you explain?
What does it say?
It says, the letter serves as a formal appointment of Gubis by whoever the client are, which is left blank to render specialized VIP protection, escort and events security services. This appointment is made in recognition of the service provider's proven excellence, scope of services. Gubis is hereby appointed to provide VIP protection and escort services to the following main principals, namely yourself. These individuals shall be regarded as the primary principals under the agreement, and on it goes. But it's not clear to me why this is relevant to the donation of the Baki.
Yeah, the bug is not mentioned here. What I can clarify you is PMP Transport Services is an association where I operate.
You say it's an association?
A taxi association.
A taxi association.
Correct, yeah.
But again, if one looks at the executive members, I don't see your name on it.
Yes, I'm not
You're
an executive.
not on the executive.
I'm not an executive. This is
What's your relationship with PMP?
This is remember, I've got taxis that are operating in a particular association. This PMP association is an association whereby my taxis are operating.
So you have taxis running Pretoria, Mabopane,
Correct,
Petersburg.
yes, yeah.
So you're a member of this association.
Correct.
But I still don't, maybe we're talking at cross purposes, but paragraph 80 says Annexure B is documentation relating to the donation of the Baki.
Yes.
So I'm trying to see the connection between this document and the donation of the Baki.
This document of PMP does not talk about the Baki.
That was what I thought, which is why I found
it doesn't talk
paragraph
anything about it. It talks about the security services that,
Yes.
that is provided by Gubis to me.
Yes.
Yes, yeah. So there's nothing of a Baki in this particular.
Yes, then
Yes.
paragraph 180 needs to be corrected in that respect. Because
Okay.
paragraph 80 suggests that this document is
Up
relevant.
to this one.
Sorry,
Paragraph 180 says,
of your main statement,
Yeah.
page 58 of the main statement.
if that's the case, then it needs to be rectified. But there is relevancy in these two documents. PMP is an association that I work with and is the one that pays directly Gubis on my behalf. Therefore, it was good for them to have this contract so that if they don't get payments, they know who to call. Or if there is a complaint, I know how to direct that complaint. So that's the relevancy of that.
So you say PMP pays Gubis on
My
your behalf?
Yes, yeah.
But perhaps I can also be of assistance. I think it's an administrative error because in our on the list of annexures, this document should actually fall under Annexure H. So it's an administrative error.
That may resolve some of my confusion. But But if I can just clarify the arrangement. You have the taxi association contracting with Gubis.
Yes.
Appointing Gubis to provide
Correct.
security services for you.
Yes.
Who pays for those services? You or the taxi
The
association?
taxi association.
The taxi association. And then do they come back to you and say, well, we paid Gubis 20,000 rands this month, you need to pay us 20,000?
No.
No. So it's the association.
The association, yes.
And when you speak earlier about your relationship with Gubis and Gubis providing security services for you, is there a separate contract between you and Gubis for other services?
No.
So it's all done through
The
PMP and the
Correct.
association?
Yes.
I understand. Let's get back to the statement, page 59.
Mr. Chaskalson and Mr. Adams, maybe just to flag for later correction, that PMP document is, which Mr. Adams says is H. If you look at H, there is an H, and H is a different document altogether. Just to flag it for whatever corrections may need to be done later. H you find at page 81. Looks like it's different. Just for flagging for now.
iPhone, man.
I want to show you what is on each.
Oh, okay. What does it say?
Thank you so much. I apologize for that. There is the service level agreement that forms part of the bundle of documents to which the invoices or proof of payment is annexed. So in the main, it ought to have formed part of Exhibit H.
All right, so we move PMP, page 11, to Annexure H. That's what
I
you're saying.
beg your pardon.
So we move the current page 11 up to 13. We move it to Annexure H.
We would
to be
appreciate it
part
very
of
much.
that.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
If we can then go back to page 59
Page 59.
and the presidential cartel.
Presidential cartel, notice paragraph 2.10. My attorneys have requested full particularity from the Commission regarding the term presidential cartel. Before I'm recovered to respond in detail, including the definition of the entity, its alleged membership, activities, and leadership, and the specific evidence that links me to it, I maintain that request. 182. Without prejudice to that request and based on my own knowledge and understanding, I provide the following substantive response. 182.1. The presidential cartel, to the extent this term refers to a group with which I'm personally familiar, is, in my understanding, a social club comprising of a number of young businessmen based in the Secunda and Emalatleni Witbank area of Mpumalanga. It is not and has never been a criminal organization to my knowledge. It is a social grouping of young men who have chosen to associate together and name themselves the Presidential Cartel. 182.2. I have no business dealings with this group as a collective entity. I have no contractual relationship with any entity known as the Presidential Cartel. I have not invested in, financed, or supported any enterprise conducted under that name. 182.3. I know some of the individuals members personally on a person-to-person basis. Some of them regard me as a mentor. I have, in my individual and personal capacity, provided them, some of them, with guidance and, where appropriate, some financial assistance, as I have done for various young people in my community and professional network over 42-year career. Mentorship and financial support for my young business people is not criminal. It is a form of individual social investment that is commonplace and valued in South African society. 182.4, some members...
Sorry, can I just clarify what you say in 182.2 and 182.3? Because in 182.2,
I have no business dealings with this group as a collective entity. I have no contractual relationship with any entity known as a presidential cartel. I have not invested in, financed, or supported any enterprise conducted under that name.
and then when in 182.3, when you're saying...
I know some of the individual members personally.
Sorry, can I just clarify or can I ask you to clarify my confusion?
Okay.
Are you saying that you have provided some financial assistance to individual members who associate with each other under the name of presidential cartel?
Yes, yeah. Some.
But not to any enterprise run by presidential?
Yeah, not at all.
Not at all. So there are some individuals who've been financially assisted and hopefully paid you back.
Yes.
But you haven't entered into any relationships with the
Entity.
with the group itself. Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Thanks. 182.4.
Some members refer to me as Godfather. This is a social term of respect and affection, a colloquial acknowledgement of a mentorship role in many South African communities. Persons of experience who provide guidance to younger people are referred to by this or similar terms as marks of respect. It is a social honor, not a criminal designation. 182.5. I was not involved in the formation of this social club. I was not consulted about its name. The name Presidential Cartel was chosen by the members themselves without my involvement or input. I had no role in that naming and do not endorse it. I'm not and have never been a member of any cartel in the legal or criminal sense of that word. I'm definitely not the financier of Presidential Cartel as a collective entity or as any organized group of young businessmen.
Mr. Sibanyoni, you seem to acknowledge that such a social club known as the Presidential Cartel exists.
Yes.
Are you a member of that social club?
No.
Thank you.
And you say you've mentored some of the members.
Yes.
Which of those members have you mentored?
My relationship with them is their president, so to say. My relationship directly is the guy which is their president.
And who is that?
I call him Lungile Masego.
And no other members of the presidential cartel?
No, it's like their numbers, at some point it was big. Now as we talk, I think we're talking about only 2 people.
And the only one with whom you've
Yes.
had a mentoring relationship
Sure.
is Lungile Maseko. You haven't provided financial assistance to anybody else in that?
None. Okay, Stokvels and Collective Savings Organization, notice paragraph 2.11. We're sitting at number 183. Paragraph 2.11 of the notice requires me to provide comprehensive details of all Stokvels and Collective Savings Organization to which I contributed. I will provide that detail in a comprehensive supplementary statement after completing the necessary review and consultation with my legal team, and I take to deliver that supplementary statement promptly. 184. In the interim, I record the following context, which I regard as essential to a fair interpretation of this question. I have been a member of Stokvel for most of my adult and business life, from what I regard as time immemorial. Stokvel participation is not a recent activity for me. It is a lifelong feature of my community engagement. In this respect, I'm not different from millions of South Africans. 184.2, the institution of Stokvels is one of the most deeply embedded features of South African social and economic life. It is a lawful, culturally significant and affirmatively valued saving mechanism. It is regulated under the Banks Act 94 of 1990 for certain deposit thresholds and through the self-regulatory structures of the National Stokvel Association of South Africa. The Constitutional Court has recognized the importance of informal community economic institutions. Participation in a Stokvel is not evidence of criminality, it is an evidence of ordinary South African social life. 184.3, I note with concern that paragraph 2.11 of the notice, and particularly subparagraph 2.11.4, which asks whether a Stokvel's bank account was ever closed by a financial institution, why it's framed in a manner that implies financial crime. I respectfully but firmly reject that implication. The framing of a question cannot convert a lawful community saving practice into evidence of wrongdoing. I've never used any Stokvel or collective savings organization for the purpose of money laundering, tax evasion, or any other unlawful purpose.
Can I stop you there, Mr. Sibanyoni? The question in 2.11.4 is whether you...
2.11.
2.11.4, the question that you're answering here,
Oh, okay.
was whether any Stokvels of which you've been a member have had their bank accounts shut down. And that seems to be a simple question. The answer is either yes or no.
Yes, yeah.
The answer is yes.
Yes, yeah.
And then the secondary question was by which financial institution?
It was APSA.
And when, and for what reasons that were communicated to you?
They just gave me what I call an exit letter. Other than that, I didn't entertain the...
And when would that have? When would that have been?
It's last year early, I think. Last year.
2025.
So I think so.
And which Stokvel was it?
It was Shosholoza, if I'm correct. Yeah. Shosholoza, put two names, Shosholoza or Siapambili.
Shosholoza or?
Yes, or Siapambili.
Siapambili.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the name for now.
And they didn't give you any reasons?
No, they mentioned all the legal reasons, which I was not, I didn't want to pursue all those legal terms. Once I got that exit letter, then I had to follow the instructions and move.
Can we ask you for a copy of that exit letter? If you...
It's not long time ago.
Yes, well, it was last year. Presumably it was emailed to you, or not?
It should have been emailed, yes, but due to some matters that are arising now from the police, they took my phone and all these things. I didn't find anything when my phone was given back to me, so I've started afresh. But there is a way, but it's going to be a difficult exercise.
We can also ask APSA.
Yes, simple as all that. Yeah, for me,
we'll do that. Sorry, I interrupted you there. You're at 184.4.
184.4. There is a deep irony in the fact that a man was born, raised in Kwaggafontein in Mpumalanga, who has participated in Stokvels as part of the community life since he was a young man, is now being required before a judicial commission with prosecutorial consequences to account for his Stokvel participation as if it were suspicious. Stokvel participation is not evidence of a criminal mindset. It is evidence of a South African life. If Stokvel participation were evidence of criminality, a very large proportion of the South African adult population would need to account for themselves. I will provide complete details once I have clarity from the Commission. It is truly impractical for me to have to go back 42 years and provide information of this nature with no direction of what is being referred to at all.
Sorry, Mr. Sibanyoni, that paragraph 184.5
yes,
would suggest on its face that in addition to the 2025 case that you're talking about, there's other cases where a bank has closed. Is that what you're conveying? Because you say you're required to go back 42 years.
Yes, in terms of me being a Stokvel person, only in that reference.
Okay, not specific to the closing of accounts.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
A relationship with Edin Construction and Tengani Mining, notice 2.12, 185. The criminal charges currently pending against me in the Delmas Magistrate Court arise from the alleged conduct connected to the Molodo Road 573 aggregate supply project and involve Mr. Thomas Tengani Ntuli, whose name features in both Tengani Mining and paragraph 2.13 of the notice. I've been advised that answering questions about my relationship or any of my company's relationship with Edwin Construction Ltd and Tengani Mining Pty Ltd may constitute or contribute to self-incriminating evidence in those proceedings. 186.
Can I just raise something there? I have a difficulty with these three paragraphs, and there are
Which one?
185, 186, 187, and then it's a difficulty that's more is broader than these three paragraphs, because the same difficulty arises elsewhere. The first issue, and that I think I've clarified with Mr. Abrams, this commission can't grant any use immunity, doesn't have the power. So the request in 187, even if the commission was inclined to assist you, just can't. The legal position is essentially twofold. You are entitled, if you say that information may incriminate you, you're entitled to assert a privilege against self-incrimination and to say you won't answer the question because you may incriminate yourself. But you have to make out a case that is sufficient to satisfy the commission that there's a risk of incriminating yourself there. If you choose to say something on a question like this, whatever you say can't be used against you in any criminal trial. So any answer that you give to this question will not be something that the criminal court in Delmas can have regard to. But my problem arises here. I presume on the advice of your legal team in paragraph 186, you assert a right against self-incrimination and decline to answer the question. The problem I have with that is that at various points through the paragraph, through the affidavit, sometimes generally, sometimes specifically in relation to the Delmas case, you make clear that you've never done anything unlawful.
Correct.
So if you have done nothing unlawful, I don't think that you can plead a privilege against self-incrimination, because there is nothing that may incriminate you if you have not done anything unlawful. To plead a privilege against self-incrimination, you have tacitly to admit that there is a crime out there of which you might be found guilty if you were to give the answer. And where you repeatedly state, both generally and specifically in relation to the Delmas charges, I've behaved completely lawfully, I've committed no unlawful act, the charges are unfounded. I don't think you can assert a privilege against self-incrimination to decline to answer questions about that overlap with allegations against you in a criminal trial. That's my concern. So it's an issue to consider, not so much now, but because there is going to be a supplementary statement.
Correct.
But if there is going to be a supplementary statement, it seems to me you're going to have to make an election. If you maintain, and you have consistently through this affidavit, that you've done nothing unlawful, that you have not committed any crime, and then certainly my view is it's not open to you to decline to answer these questions on the grounds that you may incriminate yourself, because you're saying there's nothing that could incriminate me.
Sorry, Mr. Chairperson. I don't know whether you are done with your point, this, the one on self-incrimination.
I would like to just
All right.
amplify it. So both in relation to the supplementary statement and in relation to your preparation for when you return and when you will be questioned specifically about what you have said in the statement, I want to alert you to the fact that I'm certainly going to submit at that point that if you maintain that you have done nothing unlawful, you cannot at the same time decline to answer these questions. It's not for you to answer now, because there's nothing for you to answer now, but I do want to put it on record so that your legal team understands both what we expect of it, or of you, and of them advising you in relation to the supplementary statement, and how we intend to proceed when it comes to questioning you.
I think what I wanted to suggest that you might be minded to respond, because this raises a legal question that may, in a sense, have been addressed by what Mr. Shaskalson says right at the tail end, because he will submit at a later stage, and assume at a stage when there may be a supplementary affidavit. So maybe you two might want to address us at that stage. Should we leave it at that for now?
Thank you, Chairperson. We may leave it at that, but we definitely will make legal submissions at the appropriate time, in defense of the position that Mr. Sibanyoni will be taking on the specific issues that are raised with him in that regard. And of course, we'll prepare Mr. Sibanyoni appropriately in that regard.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chair, just to clarify, it's not
Yes.
just in relation to the supplementary affidavit, it's also in relation to the next round of questions
Yes,
when
all
Mr.
right,
Sibanyoni
all right.
returns, because that's where it will really
Yes, yes,
arise,
yes.
I think, most prominently.
Thank you, thank you.
Can I continue?
Certainly, and we're at 188 now on page 6.
Okay. Communications with Mr. Ntuli in the meetings. Notice paragraph 2.13. The allegations, 188. The allegations in paragraph 2.13 directed at WhatsApp communications with Mr. Ntuli, all meetings held with or by Mr. Sindani with Mr. Ntuli, and any payments made at my direction or Mr. Sindani's direction directly traverse the subject matter of the extortion and money laundering charges presently pending against me in the Delmas Magistrates Court. I formally invoke my right under section 35.3J of the Constitution in respect of paragraph 189. However, consistent with the approach I've adopted throughout these statements, providing non-incriminating context wherever I'm able to do so in the spirit of genuine cooperation, I record the following factual background regarding how I came to know Mr. Ntuli, which I'm able to provide without prejudicing my criminal defense, and which I believe materially assists the Commission's understanding. The Commission should know from the outset that Mr. Thomas Tengani Ntuli came to me. I did not go to Mr. Ntuli. Mr. Ntuli was seeking me. I was not seeking Mr. Ntuli. The sequence of events that brought us together is follows. 190.1, in or around early 2022, Mr. Ntuli contacted Mr. Mvimbi Daniel Masilela from a telephone number that Mr. Masilela apparently did not recognize or link to Mr. Ntuli. On that call, Mr. Ntuli requested a same-day meeting. At that time, Mr. Masilela had a role as project liaison officer, community liaison officer in the Kwagafontein area. 190.2. Apparently, when Mr. Masilela met Mr. Ntuli, he recognized him from a prior encounter in approximately 1995 when Mr. Ntuli had been a ward councillor in Brongospruit. On this second encounter, Mr. Ntuli explained his purpose. He had a quarry permit and wanted to supply raw materials to Sanral in connection with the Moloto Road R573 project. He further disclosed that he had additional business projects in mind, including proposed mall developments and a chicken farm. 190.3. Crucially, Mr. Ntuli explained that he was not a local. He did not qualify for the 30% local content requirements applicable to the project's requirements of the quarry. He wanted to penetrate the local business market and needed a partner who was locally based and locally connected. Specifically, he stated that he needed to be introduced to locally influential people because he lacked the local connections and local standing required to access business opportunities in the area. 190.4. At the top of his mind, Mr. Ntuli identified me as the president of the local business forum and a member of the project liaison committee established for the Central project, Mr. Ntuli was taken to a meeting at the Imtunzini restaurant where introductions were made. They subsequently proceeded to a meeting at my house where I was requested to meet him at his request. 190.5. At that time, Mr. Ntuli explicitly stated that he had heard a great deal about me, that he had been looking very hard to find me, and that he wanted to work with me. He presented the quarry project, the Central supply opportunity, and his need for a local partner who could provide local content ownership for the project to qualify for local content requirements, and as a result of legitimate participation in the quarry project. 191. I record this sequence of events because it is directly relevant to the Commission's inquiry and to the characterization of my conduct. Mr. Ntuli was not a person I targeted, sought out, or approached. He was a businessman from outside the area who specifically sought a person of my standing and connections in order to access business opportunities that he was otherwise not entitled to because he was not a local in the area, and therefore the local content provision would automatically exclude him from participation in favor of local people. 192. I cannot, consistent with my constitutional rights in the Delmas proceedings, say more about the subject cause of our business relationship at this stage. I respectfully request use immunity in order to provide a fuller account once my constitutional rights can be adequately protected.
And again, just to flag for your legal
Yes.
team, the same concerns that I've raised previously would apply to this
understand.
section.
We acknowledge that, and
Yes.
we intend to deal with it in the same format going forward on the next occasion.
Relationship with co-accused and related person, notice paragraph 2.14, without prejudice, 193, sorry, Commissioner. 193, without prejudice to the constitutional invocation above and without waiving any right, I provide the following non-incriminating background. 193.1, Mr. Mvimbi Daniel Masilela, paragraph 2.14.1, Mr. Mvimbi Daniel Masilela and my brother are connected through marriage. Their families are linked by marital ties. Our families are thus connected through that familial bond. This is a matter of family background and public family record. Beyond that familial background, all questions regarding my dealings with Mr. Msila in the context of any business or financial arrangements are formally reserved under Section 35(3)J of the Constitution. 193.2, Mr. Stanley Masilela, paragraph 2.14.2. Mr. Stanley Masilela is a homeboy and a friend from the neighborhood where I grew up. We have a long-standing social relationship that predates any matter presently before any court. To the extent that my relationship with Mr. Stanley Masilela...
Sorry. It's Msiza.
Msiza, yes. Sorry.
You said Masilela a few times.
Yes. No, it's Msiza. My apology. We have a long-standing social relationship that predates any matter presently before any court. To the extent that my relationship with Mr. Stanley Msiza traverses any matters at issue in the Delmas criminal proceedings, I formally invoke my right under Section 35(3)J of the Constitution in respect of all such conduct. 193.3, Mr. Makaya Msiza, paragraph 2.14.3. I know Mr. Makaya Msiza as a friend from the neighborhood where I grew up. Ours is a long-standing personal acquaintance rooted in our shared community background. To the extent that any aspects of my relationship with Mr. Makaya Msiza is connected to matters at issue in the Delmas proceedings, I invoke my right under Section 35(3)J of the Constitution accordingly. O. Part 0, Muloto Road Construction Projects, notice paragraph 2.15, number 194. I formally invoke my right under Section 35(3)J of the Constitution not to be compelled to give self-incriminating evidence in respect of paragraph 2.15 of the notice. The criminal charges in the Delmas proceedings relate specifically to alleged conduct in the connection with the Muloto Road 573, R573, aggregate supply project. Any answer I provide to paragraph 2.1 may constitute or contribute to evidence directly relevant to those charges and potentially adverse to my defense in those proceedings. I respectfully request that the Commission grant me use immunity in respect of any evidence I may give in in answer to paragraph 2.15 so that I may assist the Commission fully without prejudicing my position in the Delmas criminal proceedings. P. Relationship with 10 named individuals and support provided notice paragraph 2.196. Before addressing each individual named in paragraph 2.16, I record a general observation. I've been in business for more than 42 years. Over that period, I've met many thousands of people in the taxi industry, in business, in my community, at social and cultural events, and in all other contexts through which a person of standing builds a life. It will be unreasonable to expect me to know every person who may be mentioned in document of this kind, much less to be responsible for the character or conduct of every person with whom I've acquainted. 197. I also record the cultural social context in which the concept of support must be understood. It is entirely normal and accepted in South African life, and it reflects the Ubuntu philosophy, foundation to our constitutional democracy, for persons of means to provide financial assistance, school fees, bursaries, community contributions, or other forms of support to people in their community and family networks. Where I've assisted any person financially, I did so as an expression of genuine care for their well-being, not as a form of criminal inducement. It will truly be regrettable to term assistance of this kind to people as having some criminal connotation. 198. In respect of each of the 10 individuals named in paragraph 2.16, 198.1, Mr. Chabuko Abu Madlanga, 2.16.1. I know Mr. Madlanga as the son of the late friend of mine. My acquaintance with him is through that filial connection. I have not provided any financial or material support to Mr. Madlanga. 198.2, Mr. Mandla Mtsweni, 2.16.2, Mr. Mtsweni is my nephew, the son of my sister. Ours is a family relationship. Any assistance I may have rendered to him is as an uncle to his nephew. In the ordinary course of family life, entirely consistent with Ubuntu and with normal family relationship. 198.3, Mr. Norman Skosana, 2.13.3. To my recollection, I have no relationship whatsoever with Mr. Skosana. I've never met, communicated with, or had dealings with of any kind with him. 198, Mr. Surprise. 198.4, Mr. Surprise Ngotela. 2.16.4. To my recollection, I have no relationship whatsoever with Mr. Ngotela. I've never met, communicated with, or had dealings with any kind with him. 198.5, Mr. Ben Mabuza, 2.16.5. To my recollection, I have no relationship whatsoever with Mr. Mabuza. I've never met, communicated with, or had dealings with of any kind with him. 198.6, Mr. George Besis Kosana, 2.16.6. To my recollection, I have no relationship whatsoever with Mr. Skosana. I've never met, communicated with, or had dealings of any kind with him. 198.7, Mr. Skosana Klimba, 2.16.7. To my recollection, I have no relationship whatsoever with Mr. Klimba. I've never met, communicated with, or had dealings of any kind with him. 198, Mr. Bongani Oros Simon Mguni Stroke Mtimunye, 2.16.8. To my recollection, I have no relationship whatsoever with this individual under either surname or nickname Oros. I've never met, communicated with, or had dealings with any kind with them. 198.9, Mr. Kanyiseleni Mbata, 2.1619. To my recollection, I had no relationship whatsoever with Mr. Mbata. I've never met, communicated with, or had dealings of any kind with him. Number 198.10, Mr. Sfundo Mhlongo, 2.16.10. To my recollection, I have no relationship whatsoever with Mr. Mhlongo. I've never met, communicated with, or had dealings of any kind with him. Q, the farm and its power, a state within the state. 199. I introduced this part at this juncture in the statement because it provides the essential constitutional and institutional context within which every answer in this document must be understood. It addresses the phenomenon that has defined my professional life, threatened my personal life, and that this commission has been established in part to investigate. I do not draft this part lightly. I draft it because the truth requires it, and because I'm before this commission under oath 1, the farm as command center. Number 200. The farm of the late Mr. Jotams was situated near Hammanskraal to the north of Pretoria, Tshwane. Was not merely a rural property or a private home, having visited the farm on at most 2 occasions between 2019 and 2020, and I have set out in Part C1 of this statement. It functioned as the operational and political command center of an organization that wielded power far beyond the boundaries of the minibus taxi industry. I do not exaggerate what I observed. I therefore depose what I know from direct experience. The farm was a seat of power whose significance and reach were understood and widely accepted within the industry and far beyond it. Number 2, reports of Mr. Msibi's reaching to government. Number 201, I do not make reckless or unsupported allegations. I'm acutely conscious of the gravity of what I'm about to record and depose to as a matter of constitutional duty, not casual accusation. What I depose to in this subsection are matters of common and widespread knowledge within the taxi industry and its circles beyond it. Matters that informed my understanding of the true nature of danger I faced. I advance these matters not as individual proven facts in a court of law, but as a landscape of perception, report, and common industry knowledge within which I navigated my professional and personal existence for many years. 202. Within the taxi industry and far beyond it, there has been and continues to be persistent reports and a widespread, deeply shared belief that the late Mr. Jotam Msibi exercised influence that intended to the highest echelons of government and the state. It was said and commonly accepted in the most senior industry circles that decision of significance within relevant state departments and structures could not be taken without Mr. Msibi's knowledge or acquaintances. It was reported, as I heard this not once but many times from multiple sources, over many years that Mr. Msibi's practical power was indistinguishable from the power of the state itself in the relevant domains. 203. I do not advance this report as standing alone as established facts. I depose to them as matters that fundamentally shaped my understanding of the danger I faced. That danger was not merely the danger of criminal organization operating in the shadows of the state. It was the danger of an entity with what appeared to be state-level reach and state-level protection. A person who understands that individual who wants him killed may have allies within the very apparatus and constitutional charge with protecting him occupies a fundamentally different position from a person facing merely a private criminal adversary. 204. Critically, I do not stand alone in the assessment of the farm's reach into the organs of the state, as deposed in Part B4 of this statement when I raised this profound concern about my safety with the then Honorable Minister of Transport, Ms. Cindy Siwe Chikunga, in a capacity as the political principal of the department constitutionally responsible for governing and regulating the mini taxi industry. The minister stated explicitly that he was aware of that certain officials within the Department of Transport have divided allegiances and did in fact report to the farm. These were the minister's own words, communicated directly to me in an inflammatory manner, but in a consent manner. 205. The implications of the minister's disclosure are constitutionally profound. The very arm of the state responsible for regulating and governing the minibus taxi industry was, on the state's own admission through its political principle, compromised with the officials answering not to the Constitution, not to the law, not to the minister who was their constitutional superior, and not to the South African public, but to a private individual operating from a farm outside Pretoria. This is not peripheral to the mandate of this Constitution. It is the precise essence of the institutional capture that this commission was established to investigate and expose.
Mr. Sibanyoni, I think it's fair that I must give you the opportunity to answer this question. You and I discussed earlier that you succeeded Mr. Msibi after his passing. If it is true that he wielded this power that he wielded, and some government officials and or departments reported to him, did that power that he wielded pass on to you? Are you now his successor as far as the power to influence the government and people reporting to the farm, as you say? Are you now the person that they are reporting to?
Not at all. Not at all. I specifically deal with taxi matters that concerns the members of the taxi business. That is the long and the short.
So the power that the farm wielded, it no longer exists.
No, it's not with me.
Where does it rest?
I don't know. The Shongwe Commission's findings, independent systematic confirmation, 206. The Shongwe Commission of Inquiry into the minibus taxi type services, violence, fatalities, and instability in the Gauteng province made detailed findings that are wholly consistent with and independently corroborative of the picture described in this part. The Commission found in Part E, Section 6 of its final report that some victims of the taxi-related violence testified to and provided anecdotal evidence of collusion between some law enforcement officials, especially members of the SAPS, and those responsible for provoking and fanning the flames of violence. That complaints were informed on the details of their confidential complaints by the very persons against whom they have made those complaints, often accompanied by intimidation and threats that many witnesses hold a firm belief, backed by many examples, that some law enforcement officers actively collaborate with criminal elements, aiding and abetting their criminal activities while protecting them from the law. And that planned law enforcement operations within the industry were on multiple occasions compromised by leaks emanating from within law enforcement itself. Information about raids and roadblocks being communicated to targets so that they could take precautions to avoid arrest.
Sorry, Mr. Sibanyoni, I just want to clarify what, again, is your opinion and what is just a report of the Shongwe Commission.
No, that's the Shongwe Commission.
I understand that,
Yes,
but what you say in the introductory sentence is that the Shongwe Commission made detailed findings that are wholly consistent with and independently corroborative of the picture described in this part. So when I read this paragraph, well, at least when I initially read it, I thought that you were endorsing those findings. So I'd like to take them one by one and just understand what you say about them. Whether you think you agree with the conclusion, disagree, or have some comment that you want to make. So I see 4 key conclusions here. The first one is at line 3, starts at line 3 of page 70. Collusion between some law enforcement officials, especially members of the SAPS, and those responsible for provoking and fanning the flames of violence. That was a conclusion of the Shongwe Commission. Do you agree with that conclusion? Do you disagree with it?
I can't take you further because a lot of people gave evidence in the commission. So for me, from my side, I can't elaborate on something that I'm not, that I didn't mention or that I don't know.
So you are not aware of any collusion between law enforcement officials, members of the SAPS, and the people responsible for it? You're not aware?
No, not at all.
Are you aware that complainants in taxi violent cases were informed of the details of their confidential complaints by the very persons against whom they'd made the complaints, accompanied by intimidation and threats? Are you aware of any of those types of cases? Someone lays a charge, the person against whom they've laid the charge then comes back and tells them, I hear you've laid this charge against me, you better be careful.
Yeah, no, same thing with that, I don't know.
You don't have any personal knowledge of that?
Yes.
The third one is, some law enforcement officers actively collaborate with criminal elements, aiding and abetting their criminal activities while protecting them from the law.
Yeah, same with me personally, I don't know.
Planned law enforcement operations within the industry are on multiple occasions compromised by leaks emanating from within law enforcement itself. Information about raids and roadblocks being communicated to the targets so they can take precautions to avoid arrest.
Yes.
Are you aware of any of that?
No.
Okay, let's go to 207 then.
207. The Commission further found in Part E, Section 5 of its final report, that it is widely known in the taxi industry that some operators serve as proxies for law enforcement officers who use them to conceal direct financial and business interests in the taxi industry, a practice that contravenes the National Land Transport Act and that the Commission identified as a direct source of conflicted law enforcement. These findings of collusion, proxy ownership, of deliberate operational leaks, and of officers protecting those they should be investigating describe not isolated incidents of individual misconduct, but a systemic and structural pattern of state's capture at the law enforcement and transport governance level. Should I continue? That's the Shongwe Commission report.
Please do.
Okay. Number 4, Shongwe Commission report, Part E, Section C, collusion, PP 48 to 49. Some victims of the taxi violence testified to and provided anecdotal evidence of collusion between some law enforcement.
Sorry, we've been through there. I'm looking
Yes,
for
that's what I was
paragraph
asking.
208, page 71.
That's what I was asking. Thank you. My unique vantage point, 208. I occupy a unique and a painful vantage point in relation to everything described in this part. I'm not a bystander, a researcher or a commentator. I was for many years a senior leader within the same industry, operating in the highest levels alongside Mr. Msibi. I know from direct, intimate and irreplaceable personal experience the texture and character of power that the firm represented. I witnessed it from the inside across many years of our shared professional relationship. I do not speculate or infer. I depose from lived experience under oath to what he directly observed and understood. 209. I depose accordingly not to implicate any person without proper evidentiary foundation and not to make assertions that exceed the scope of my personal knowledge. I depose to ensure that...
Sorry, can I just take you up on that first sentence? Because I find myself in a position where I'm slightly concerned for Mr. Molefe. You've said in your statement, Mr. Molefe moved his drug-related operations to the farm. Now that's implicating a person in very serious criminal misconduct. Now I want to understand what the proper evidentiary foundation for that is, and what assertions that you make in that regard are within your personal knowledge.
Which one?
Well, there is a statement that you make that Mr. Molefe, Mr. Katiso Molefe, moved his drug operations to the farm and was conducting them from the farm.
Yes.
I need to understand what the evidentiary foundation for that statement is.
Yeah, I've mentioned that was a hearsay. I've mentioned that. And some of those things were like live information in a sense that the person who called me was like giving live information as to here he is now, this and this is what is happening. Yeah.
So in that respect, the allegations against Mr. Molefe that you make in this statement are allegations that exceed the scope of your personal knowledge.
Yes.
Thank you.
I depose to ensure that this commission understands the institutional, quasi-governmental character of the power against which I have found myself and continue to find myself, essentially defenseless, a man who can be shot twice, whose closest associates can be murdered without effective investigation, whose concerns can be raised with ministers, generals, and MECs without consequential results, and who now finds himself compelled to appear before a commission whose independence from the very influential described in this part, I cannot without demonstrated assurance simply assume. The hope that died, Mr. Msibi's death and its aftermath. Number 210, when Mr. Jordan Msibi passed away in 2024, I experienced for the first time in many years something I had not permitted himself to feel. I experienced hope, I experienced the genuine, tentative and quietly overwhelming possibility that the cycle of violence and persecution and that defined so significant a portion of my adult life might finally be at the end. The source of the threat, the architect of so much suffering directed at me was indeed gone. I dared cautiously and with the reserve of a man who has learned a lot, not to trust come to believe that I might at last be free, that my family might finally be safe. 211, that hope was short-lived. As I set out elsewhere in the statement, the period following Mr. Msibi's death was marked by renewed instability within the industry, the emergence of new competing threats, and my own good faith efforts to restore peace and stability. Those efforts have not been rewarded with protection, security, or gratitude. They have been rewarded with a subpoena, with the circumstances that surround his compelled appearance before this commission and many others. 212, I truly hope and pray that this commission understands the gravity of the concerns I raise here. The constitutional dimension.
This is essentially a legal submission, so I think given the hour of the day, I would prefer if we just move forward to section R. We certainly note what is being said at the level of law in paragraphs 213 and 214.
Okay. R, discussion with Mr. Sindane regarding Izinkabi, notice paragraph 217, 215. The notice at paragraph 2.17 directs me to provide details of all your discussions with Mr. Sindane over the period of 2024 to 2026 in relation to the employment assessment or support of Izinkabi. 216, I hereby formally and emphatically invoke my right under section 35.3 of the Constitution not to be compelled to give self-incriminating evidence in respect of paragraph 217 of the notice. I further invoke my right under section 35(1)(b) to remain silent. I do so on the following basis. Mr. Oba Sindane is a co-accused of mine in the Delmas criminal proceedings. 216.2, the allegations in paragraph 217 have been discussions about the employment assessment or support of Izinkabi. In the event such a reference relates to matters directly or intimately connected with Delmas criminal proceeding and potentially to the attempted assassination of my person in August 2022, the term Izinkabi is, in common South African usage, understood to refer to contract killers or hitmen. 216.3, answering question about my discussion with Mr. Sindane regarding Izinkabi, in the sense of which the Commission appears to use that term, could constitute self-incriminating evidence in the Delmas criminal proceedings. The procedures to my fertile rights will be severe and potentially irreversible. 2164, I rely on SV and others 1995/2 SA 642 CC Ferreira versus Levin number, Frey Hook versus Powell number 1996/1 SA 984 in bracket CC and Bennett versus Absa Bank Ltd 2011 in bracket 3 SA 92 in bracket CC. In support of this invocation, I must add,
Mr. Abrams,
I don't know this term.
it doesn't assist us much not to have pin sites for quoted cases, because now we'll be forced to read the entire case when sometimes it may not be necessary to do so. Can we be provided with pin sites, please?
Yes. Sorry. The relevance of...
No, I'm not asking for, just give us the pin site or paragraph numbers, let me put it that way. At a later stage, not now.
Absolutely.
Please.
We're happy to do so.
Please, thank you.
I was somewhat perplexed there for a few seconds.
Now you know what a pin site, now you know what a pin site is.
Yeah, we're at Eden. Thank you.
Thank you.
217, I must add that discussing issues of Izinkabi has always been there. It will always be there as long as the threat persists. There is no question that Izinkabi were heavily deployed by the late Msibi within the taxi industry. The concern around all of our safety has always existed. To the extent that such discussions would have been discussed as a common threat against any people under a set of circumstances, we surely would have discussed this. I, however, have no record of such discussions and will await further information on the issue to properly engage the matter meaningfully. 218, I note and strongly highlight the bitter irony. I was myself the victim of assassination attempts once in 2006 and once in 2022, involving precisely the kind of contract violence that the term Izinkabi denotes in its criminal sense. Any suggestions that I was involved in commissioning such violence must be assessed in the light of the undisputable fact that I was twice on the receiving end of it, and I have cooperated with the state as a witness in the prosecution of those responsible. 219, I make the following statement as a matter of unconditional and categorical record. 219, I deny unequivocally and categorically that I have at any time discussed with Mr. Sindani or with any other person the commission, employment, assessment, or support of any individual for the purpose of carrying out murders or other unlawful acts of violence against any person. This denial has been made by me personally after consultation with my legal representatives with a full understanding of the consequences of making this practice statement under oath. 219.2, I respectfully request that the Commission not draw any adverse inference from my invocation of constitutional rights in respect of this paragraph. The invocation of a constitutional right is not evidence of guilt. It is the exercise of a right that the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa guarantees to every person. 219.3, in a spirit of cooperation and without prejudice to my constitutional invocations and without waiving any right, I provide the following factual context, which is a non-incriminating. I first came to know Mr. Opasindani.
Sorry, that's
that's the one
Mr.
that,
Tsebe.
yes, yeah. Can we skip it then? Where should we start? In the period following?
In the period.
Yeah. In the period following Mr. Msibi's passing in 2024, there was a significant arrest within the taxi industry. Taxi violence escalated sharply and suddenly. Approximately 6 taxi drivers were killed in a relatively short period. Taxi strikes disrupted services and created substantial fear and instability. This was a period of genuine crisis in the industry and well documented as such. One that demanded leadership responses from those like myself who have spent their careers working for peace and stability within it. 22-1. In the context of widespread fear and instability.
Perhaps if we could, with your leave, Honorable Chairperson, if one looks at paragraph 2021 and paragraph 2020, the preceding paragraph, we made amendments to those. These are repetitions of earlier paragraphs in respect of which we had made amendments. Hence, my learned friend had directed the first sentence of the previous paragraph not be read. And in respect of paragraph 2221, the name Mr. Sandani that occurs on 2 occasions, on the 2nd line and on the 5th line, needs to be substituted with the name Tsebe.
We did that this morning.
Oh, we did that.
Or did you not change it
Yes,
on
I
yours?
did.
You changed it on yours as well,
Yes.
Mr. Sibanyoni?
Yes.
Yes. We did it
Making sure, because-
right at the beginning. Yeah. Thank you. Please continue, Mr. Sibanyoni.
221. In the context of the widespread fear and instability and the threat of Izinkabi, I contacted Mr. Tsebe. The purpose of my
In the morning, you even gave us the first name. You said Mr.
Abner Tsebe.
Tsebe. Yeah.
The purpose of my contact was one of peacekeeping, specifically to discuss what steps could be taken to contain the violence, to restore stability within the taxi industry, and to protect taxi workers and drivers who feared for their jobs and their safety. Mr. Tsebe was a figure whose engagement I believed could assist in constraining the killings and the broader disturbance. This was a conflict resolution and peacekeeping call, an exercise of exactly the kind of community responsibility and industry leadership that I have discharged throughout my career. 222. I must address the Commission's use of the term Izinkabi with great care and necessary specificity. The term Izinkabi does not carry a single fixed meaning in all contexts. In its criminal connotation, the connotation in which the Commission plainly uses it in paragraph 2.17, it refers to contract killers or hitmen. 223. However, within the South African taxi industry, which has its own culture, internal lexicon, and established terminology, The word Izinkabi is also used to refer to guards deployed at taxi rank. These are individuals who maintain order and security at taxi rank facilities, protecting drivers, commuters, and rank infrastructure. They are commonly referred to within the taxi industry as Izinkabi. This dual usage is well understood by those familiar with the taxi industry. 224. I've addressed this dual usage at the Showa Commission structural findings of Izinkabi in Part A.5.6. Above, the Commission documented that 100% of those killed in taxi-related violence were shot with high-caliber rifles as well as small firearms, some of the kind issued to state agencies, and that Izinkabi are typically recruited from other provinces, predominantly KwaZulu-Natal, and paid from the pocket money system. That structural context is essential to any fair assessment of the Commission's question at notice paragraph 2.17. 225. The discussion that formed the background to my contact with Mr. Abnatseb in 2024 were about the broader security environment within the taxi industry following Mr. Msibi's death, including the question of rank guarding and security, the deployment of peacekeepers to contain the violence, the running of taxi patrols, and the protection of rank workers who feared losing their livelihood. These were legitimate, industry-specific discussions about maintaining order and protecting jobs. They were not, and I state this categorically, discussions about the employment, assessment, or support of contract killers or hitmen. 226. I repeat and confirm in the most emphatic and ambiguous terms my categorical denial at paragraph 112.1 above. I've never at any time discussed with Mr. Sindani or with any other person in the Commission employment, assessment, or support of any individual for the purpose of carrying out any murder, attempt murder, act of violence, and any other unlawful act against any person.
I think you said ambiguous in the first line is unambiguous.
Oh, okay.
Don't go back, please continue.
Thank you, Commissioner. I draw the Commission's attention to the significance of my role as first aid witness against Mr. Vusimuzi Ketwatala in the Johannesburg High Court. I meant to testify under oath against the men who allegedly ordered the attempt to kill me. The suggestion that a person who survived assassination attempts and who is yet to testify as a state witness against the perpetrators was simultaneously engaging in discussions about the hiring of hitmen is not merely incorrect, it is inherently and logically implausible. It contradicts the fundamental narrative of the Commission's own evidence, which cast me as a target of organized crime violence, not as its architects. As documented in my position, notice paragraph 3.
Mr. Sibanyoni, I think the rest of the statement I think will be addressed in legal argument and in engagements between the attorneys. You may want to pick up your closing remarks at page 237.
Paragraph
237, page 81.
Should I start at 236.7?
I think 237, because 237 and 238 are just about the way forward and what will happen when you get the bundle.
237. I wish to state the following clearly as a matter of record. 237.1. I am a person who has survived 2 assassination attempts. I am a state witness in the Matlara criminal trial. I'm an accused person in the Delmas criminal proceedings. I am in all 3 capacities cooperating with the legal processes applicable to me. In none of these capacities have I sought to obstruct, delay, or frustrate justice. 237.2, my objections to the process adopted by the Commission are not the objections of a person seeking to hide the truth. They are the objections of a person who understands his constitutional rights and is determined to exercise them in full, as every South African citizen is entitled and indeed expected to do. 237.3, the principle that a person should not be required to make a statement without first being told what the case against them is not a technical legal point. It is a principle at the foundation of our constitutional democracy. This commission, as an organ of state, is bound by the Constitution to respect it. I respectfully but firmly call upon it to do so. I'm aware of the provisions of number 238. I'm aware of the provisions of the Commissions Act 8 of 1947 and of the regulations applicable to this commission, including the consequences of giving false evidence under oath. I've made this statement conscious of those obligations and of the sacred nature of the oath I am about to take. 239. Before I conclude this statement, I wish to address the Commission directly in my own voice as a man. I've spent more than 42 years building a legitimate life. I was born in Kwaggafontein. I built business, I raised families, I employed people, I mediated violence between industry factions where others fled. When the taxi industry was being destroyed by the killing, I wrote to the Minister of Police. When those killers shot me, I survived. When the National Prosecution Authority charged the man who tried to kill me, I stand ready to testify against him. And now I sit before a commission of inquiry, being asked whether I discuss the hiring of hitmen. I understand why this commission must ask difficult questions of everyone in its scope. I do not resent the process. I respect it, but I wish the record to reflect who Mr. Joe Sibanyoni is, a man who reported the criminal cabal to the minister and before the cabal shot him, a man who testified against his would-be assassin, a man who, despite 2 attempts on his life, has never once been convicted of any crime, a man who is here cooperating because he believes in the rule of law and the Constitution of the Republic that he has served as a community leader for 4 decades. My dignity is not negotiable. My cooperation is genuine, and the truth, I'm confident, will vindicate me.
Mrs. Banyan, do you want to correct that second sentence?
Which
On
one,
page 15, you said you were born in the East Rand. Now you say here you were born in
It's a
Kwaggafontein.
typing error, sorry. Let's
So
go back
should we say you were raised in Kwaggafontein?
Raised, yes, correct, yeah. Thank you. Commissioner, it was so hectic when we drafted this. I was talking, they were typing, so I expected this type of errors. 240, this sworn statement has been prepared thoroughly, multiple consultations, and reflects the most complete response I'm able to provide to the Commission's notice within the bounds of the Constitution, the law, and my pending criminal proceedings. It will be supplemented as soon as the Commission provides the document bundle it has undertaken to furnish. I hereby declare that I know and understand the contents of this sworn statement, that I have no objection to taking this prescribed oath, and that I consider the prescribed oath to be binding on my conscience. Dependent, it's myself, Mr. Matota Johannes Sibanyoni. Signed and sworn before me at Centurion.
No, please,
sorry.
that's enough.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sibanyoni.
You're welcome.
Chair, we've reached the end of Mr. Sibanyoni's statement. As agreed and ruled earlier, we'd ask that his appearance be postponed to 21 September.
Thank you. Mr. Sibanyoni, the hearing of your testimony is postponed to 21 September 2026 at 9:30 in the morning.
Thank you.
Let's adjourn and resume at 9:30 on Monday. Let's adjourn.